What's going on, everyone, and welcome back to OK But, a series where I look at any of the games that are out right now and give you a general sense of where it comes from and what you can expect in the gameplay. Today we're going to look at Code Vein, an action game published by Bandai Namco this year. Code Vein is a dystopian future action game that features gameplay just like the Soulsborne series. Demon Souls, Dark Souls, Bloodborne. If you played these games, then you'll immediately recognize the style of gameplay you're gonna get. This is gonna be long animation times that you have to commit to, and learning your enemies and being able to engage in a three-dimensional action combat setup. On top of that, you have lots of progression for your character and different ways that you can mix in equipment and weapons to create your own playstyle. In fact, in Code Vein, I was very surprised to see the level of diversity in builds you can get. It felt more varied than some of the Souls games, and even more so than Sekiro, which to me felt even more restrictive on the build diversity. Code Vein is set in a dystopian future with vampire-like themes, and this is a game that we've actually been waiting for quite some time. It's been pushed back several times until finally getting released in September of this year. When you first boot up, you'll run into a character creator that is actually very in-depth. And what's interesting about this character creator is when you're finally done, it does feel like you are the main character of your own story, and the characters seamlessly move into the cutscenes that you'll see throughout the game. You also have the option of being both male and female and have a lot of different customization options all across the entire body, which is a lot of fun. Now, this game will run you about $60 right now without any sales that will start up hopefully soon for the holiday season, and you're gonna get a minimum of 16 to 20 hours of gameplay from it. I myself spent about 18 hours playing it before I finished the entire main story, but you can actually work upwards to 40 to 50 hours as there's a lot of side quests and side content in the game. And of course, the replayability is pretty high with New Game Plus and the amount of variety you have in your builds to play with. There's a lot of extra stuff to grab. There's depth maps that you can pick up and some side content that's really engaging. And to actually complete the main story fully, that means get a different ending than I did, there's a lot of side areas to explore. The combat feels fresh and feels very responsive. It's very fast. And I love how they integrated a lot of ranged, melee, and alternate combat options that you don't get as much with some of the Souls games. Here's how the gameplay works. You'll select a blood code as your primary set for your character. This specifies the abilities that you're initially gonna have access to, and it also gives you a default set of stats that will affect the kind of equipment that you can use. There's a lot of blood codes in this game, and probably even more coming for future added content to the game. But what's great is that you can actually get teachable abilities from each of the blood codes. They all have different amount of abilities. Some have 4, some have upwards of 6, 7, or maybe even 8, depending on which one you pick. And once you've used this ability enough while equipped, you actually will learn the ability to be used on other blood codes. So you can actually get a blood code style that you like and then mix and match other abilities from different blood codes to create your own style. On top of that, you have 4 abilities to start with that you can slot in, and then you'll actually get 8 as well. So you can have a lot of different buffs and passives and bonuses and different abilities that all mix together to make your own playstyle. When I played, one of my favorite abilities was a massive increase in speed, and I played a very aggressive rogue-like character throughout my first playthrough of the game. There's some new mechanics to the series as well with the partner system. You'll be able to select from characters in the game that are coming along with you for the main story, and you can add them to your party and have them play along with you. In fact, they're pretty integral because they all come with different styles. Yakumo is more of a tanky character that gets up in their face. You can play with ranged characters or caster characters, and because they all have different styles, you can match your style to the kind of partner that you like. Now, one gripe I had with this system is the partners sometimes were a little bit too strong for the boss I was going against, and I felt like in my first playthrough, some of the difficulty levels were a little inconsistent. Some of the bosses I killed very easily without even having to try because my partner was there. Now, obviously, you can remove the partner from your game and make it a little bit harder on yourself, or obviously as you go into New Game Plus, you'll get more difficulty added on top of the game as well. So it's more of what you're looking for out of the game and the experience you want, but I think if you're not a Soulsborne master of this style of combat, having a partner as an option is actually really great and gives you some great options for certain obstacles that may be too difficult for you. Now, the story for the game is actually pretty enriched, and it's kind of the main focus for your experience throughout the game. It's not as cryptic or hidden as you'd see in other games of this style. Most of the story is told through the characters as they travel through the world, but you will also get flashbacks that will show you what happened prior to you coming into the world itself. And overall adds to a really cool ambiance to the game and gives you some good perspective about what's happening in this dystopian future that you're in. Now, if I'm really getting picky, one of the things that bothered me a lot about Code Vein is as you go throughout the game, the environments start to get a little samey. There's one or two environments that stand out for their uniqueness, but overall they had very similar pathing structures, very similar ideas, and even some of the art that was used tends to run together a little bit as you go throughout the game. And I feel like they could have varied this a lot more with color palettes, with different textures, and even routes and the way the levels were laid out. It could have got a lot more varied to keep it interesting. Add to this that they've reused a lot of enemy types with similar movesets throughout the entire game. In fact, I really wish there was 4 or 5 times more the amount of enemy variety that you'd get in Code Vein, because some of them just ended up being reskins of the same moveset, so you already knew how to play against them, and there wasn't really enough surprises that made me feel like every new area was something brand new. You will face a very similar enemy almost throughout the entire game in every area, and then you'll get maybe 1 or 2 new ones every now and then, but there isn't enough shock and awe that makes the game feel fresh and new as you go through. That being said, across the board, if you're looking for anime soul-style combat, this is the game for you, and I would say it's definitely worth picking up if you're into that kind of gameplay and you love the more Eastern style or anime style visuals that you're gonna get in Code Vein. The combat feels good, it's quick, it's responsive, there's a lot of customization available in the game, and overall will give you a good 15 to 20 hours minimum of excitement if that's what you're looking for. That being said, if this gameplay isn't really for you or you don't really like the art style, I think this is probably gonna be a pass for you. Code Vein ended up being more of a pinpoint towards the audience that really likes this. If you're outside that audience, it may not be the game for you, but I really enjoyed it and I got a good amount of time out of it. Thanks so much for tuning in today. If you liked the video, be sure to actually hit the like button down below, because when you do this, it lets the algorithm on YouTube do magical things that helps more people see this video. If you have any requests for me for games to do next, please leave me a comment down below in the comment section. And if you have any questions for me or you just want to come hang out, check me out on my live stream, twitch.tv/drybear. I'm live most of the week in the afternoons Eastern time. Thanks for tuning in today, and I look forward to seeing you in the next one.